training's hard, right? Like a lot of the time, and having people around you that you enjoy doing it with. The main thing is just the enjoyment of being around people that you get on with. Sometimes I have a workout after the race.
A workout after the race?
Yeah. Probably the biggest thing I'd take from playing football is I think it's kept me really robust in terms of not getting injured.
Oh, really?
Played football, like growing up as a kid, I had quite a lot of injuries.
2 different times I secured tickets for Download Festival, and not one time was I able to go because competitions got in the way.
Yeah, I've had to sell a few tickets over the years.
Yeah, you become a reseller of tickets.
Yeah.
That maybe the mistake is made of every session being super hard. You know, is that ever something that you've been told?
Doing like less hard workouts, like being able to get it right more often on race day than being tired from training.
Welcome to the England Athletics Podcast. It's the Ready, Set, Glasgow series, inspired of course by the Commonwealth Games in the Scottish city. We are here in the beautiful Alexander Stadium that of course hosted 4 years ago now, the last edition. What a brilliant games it was. So, talking of championships, Dan Pembroke has won 2 Paralympic Games in the javelin. Great to have you with us, Dan.
Great to be here.
We're going to find out more about athletes that, well, we think we know quite well, but there's so much, isn't there, to get into the mental side, the preparation, and what they do post-race and off the track.
Absolutely, it's a big package that, you know, we need to sort of like understand what makes them the best athlete that you can be. So yeah, really interested to find out what our next guest has to offer.
Yeah, so great to have Scott Beattie with us, international cross-country runner. Scott, great to have you join us. I hear that you're quite into your coffee.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yes, I am. Unfortunately, I am, and it's costing me a lot of money now. But yeah, it's a nice hobby to have, and goes quite nicely alongside running.
You must have started from the Nescafe instant coffee to start with, and like, that's really not hacking it.
Yeah, it was the instants at home that my mum and dad still drink, and I've still trying to get them off them and onto like the nicer stuff. But when I go home now, it's always an argument of trying to get them to get coffee, and
What is this?
or me just bringing stuff back home with me.
It's the ones where you open the tin, and I think a plume of dust sort of comes up, and you're like, maybe I shouldn't be drinking that. Maybe I can do a little bit better than
Yeah, it's always like, I just don't understand why you would just choose to drink that when like there's other options. Like there's plenty of other options out there.
There's a theme here, isn't there, with athletes wanting the best, best of the best.
I mean, we're all like probably perfectionists in some way. It's why a lot of us are still like in the sport,
Absolutely.
and don't know really when to give up. And then, but yeah, it's just like, I guess your taste buds change as well, and you just like, yeah. And then the more you continue drinking it and stuff, it's like I can't ever go back. And it's quite like a nice hobby that goes alongside running.
So what's this led to then? So you have machines, you've taken a little portable one with you?
Yeah, I have a machine at home, an espresso machine, and then a few other methods of brewing, like a V60, like a pour over, or an AeroPress, which are pretty good for travel. So I usually take the AeroPress wherever I go. In a little.
We're getting into it now.
The V60 sounds like an engine to me.
It does,
I'm
yeah.
not the
I feel like you've gone into car talk.
It's like the cone that sits on top of the cup, and then you like pour the water in.
Right. Is that where they have like a measuring device at the bottom as well, and
That's
usually
measuring
the water
scale
going in
for
and
like
timing
water
it
to coffee ratio and timing as well.
Yeah, high tech stuff, that, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll go on to your journey in athletics, which will be fascinating to hear, because you started off in Morpeth, of course, you know, a club with traditional links to endurance running. Athletes like Rory Leonard and James Young also a part of that club. So tell me about your early journy in the sport.
Yeah, my dad's from Morpeth, so all my dad's side of the family are from there. So I played sort of all sports growing up, like most kids. I didn't really get into running until I was sort of 16, 17. I played football mostly from like 12, 11 to sort of 15. I was at Sunderland. And I got released when I was about 14 or 15. And played locally for a bit after that. And I just sort of stopped enjoying it and needed a change. And I knew I was all right at running. I'd done a few races for the school, and then when I went up to Morpeth, there was a lot of lads like James. Rory came a little bit later, about a year after I'd been there, and a few others. And there was just a group of lads like the same age as me. So it was like I had friends, and then I also had success really quickly. So it was like I was enjoying it. So I just sort of kept me going from there.
And of course, later then you start enjoying the sport, and eventually you consider, how can I develop my potential? And where you decided to do that was to go out to the US, right, and compete in the NCAAs.
Yeah.
Again, James has done that as well, but it's a real growing trend. So I'm interested to know from what point you started to look into that as an option.
Probably pretty early. Like I'd say, like my first year properly running, I had some really good results like quickly that I probably didn't expect, and then I was like, oh, maybe I could go to the US for university. And just sort of the travel, living in a different country, the level of competition out there, seeing Brits who were like Mark Scott and stuff like that. I was like, oh, maybe that's going to help me become the best athlete I can be, while also like getting university paid for, which my parents were quite keen for me to do, and also just like move away, like completely different culture and stuff like that. And yeah, I guess the mix of all of that just sort of like piqued my interest into looking into it.
There are people for whom that would be a really tough move to make, over the other side of the world, over the Atlantic, and there'd be a lot to adjust to. What did you find it like?
I probably didn't give it enough credit for how hard it was going to be to adjust. Like I feel like I just went into it blindly, like I'll be completely fine. But yeah, it definitely took a few years to adjust to it. I was lucky enough to have good friends when I was out there, mostly international. Like there was when I started, there was another English guy, a guy from Ireland, actually, who just came 9th in London Marathon. So he's still ran the Irish record, so he's still running really well. And then Ben from Scotland. So there was a group of us all going through it at the same time. So I think if they hadn't been there, I probably wouldn't have lasted like the whole time. Probably came home, because it is a lot, especially at 18. But prior to going out, I was like, I'll just be completely fine. But then yeah, I luckily had good mates, and in terms of like adjusting to the lifestyle, that helped. And then in terms of running and performances, it sort of took me, I think, quite a few years to sort of find any sort of consistency and like level of performance that I wanted. But yeah, luckily I had good people around me.
So which university did you go to, and how did you get that opportunity to do that?
I went to Tulsa in Oklahoma. Who've had mainly I went there because they'd had really good success with guys from the UK before me, like the likes of Chris O'Hare, Mark, Scott, Luke Trainer had just finished there when I visited as well. So that was sort of like the main reason I went there. Plus, like I knew the other lads that were coming in with me at the same age were also all doing really well at the youth level here. So I was like, I'm going to have good training partners.
Sure, yeah.
The weather's nice, like 8-9 months of the year, it's warm.
That must have been a big difference for you. And
yeah, because even though I'm from Newcastle, I hate the cold. Like
you just had enough of it.
Yeah.
So what was it like then in terms of like frequency of training out there? Because I got offered a scholarship in America as well. Unfortunately, I was a bit too old to get into the NCAA.
Yeah.
When I found out that I had this opportunity there. But from athletes that I've spoken to, the regimental training is pretty tough and quite robust. There's no let up in training at all.
Yeah, I think that's why it took me a while to sort of find any sort of like success, or what I would deem as success. Like my first, I I ran okay for the first year. Like I came home and went to Eurocross and stuff as a junior, but then sort of the next 18 months to 2 years, it was very up and down, sort of like a really good performance and then 3 really bad performances. And I think the training, just because I'd got into the sport late anyway, I'd only really been running a year and a half properly, 2 years.
So you didn't have that foundation?
I'd had 1 track season before I went there because I got injured my last year of school, so I didn't have that track season. So I literally had 1 track season ever before I went to America, and I was like so like fresh like to the sport. So I think like just that increase in training load and frequency and stuff just took quite a few years to finally like come out the other side of it. But I was still enjoying it, so I was just sort of like, I'll stay doing what I am. You know.
It's interesting you talk about races not going your way because you don't quite know what's going to happen on the day, and sometimes. And Dan, I know you're quite interested in preparing for the fact that one of your throws or multiple throws might be ones that you'd rather have again because they just didn't go to plan. But moving on from that, it's tough, isn't it? You just want to be able to throw it away and move on.
Yeah, I think, I don't know whether you would agree, but you know, there are obviously some learning aspects that you can have from those races that are not so great. But a lot of the time, you know, they might be from exterior things like, you know, fatigue from training or not being in the right block, you know, to compete, or not having the right recovery time. So we can always learn positive things from those experiences. But at the end of the day, it may have been a bad experience, right? So yeah, I mean, is that the way that you operate, or does it really get to your heartstrings?
I think I've gotten and tried really hard to get a lot better at like being more even rather than the massive ups and downs. It's
very hard to do though, right? So that's a trained skill
tough.
that you've learned.
Yeah, and I think like last year really took its toll, like, and I managed to sort a lot out from like last year to this year in terms of like I ran really well indoors last year and just missed the standard for the World Champs, and that was a big PB. So then going into the outdoor season, I was just so focused on, right, I need to run this time, like every meet that I went to, and I really didn't really get that close to it again. And then the like toll of like constantly chasing it and then feeling like I was failing was like, that just like affected me quite a lot. So I think since then I've like really tried to like work on like not letting those like poor results.
So you were fear-driven, effectively.
It was just sort of like the constant chase, and then like as soon as like, especially in like the 5K or like a distance event where like, say I was in the race or in a race and like I've checked the clock and it's off pace, then it's like negative feedback, and then it's like, oh, no, I'm not going to do it today, so when am I going to do it, kind of thing. It's just sort of trying to like block as much as you can out and just race what's there on the day and stuff, and if it goes well, it goes well, but also if it goes badly, assess, but not take it to like take the down as too like much of a failure.
Exactly, because we're all going to have bad days. It's just when it does happen, right? Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because we've got the Commonwealth Games, of course, coming up this summer, and I'm sure that'd be something that you'd love to be part of the team there. You know, when you think about the selection opportunities that could come your way in future, what do you sort of picture? Because I'm sure there's some great goals out there that you could have without putting too much pressure.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate goal is to qualify for LA for the Olympics, and then World Champs next year would hopefully be a nice stepping stone to that. So
it's interesting because now that the system of qualification is a little bit different, you know, you've got all these ranking positions versus the times. Does that make it any more ambiguous as to how well you've actually done when, let's say, you've raced a certain time and you don't know at that point whether that could be enough? So you're always waiting rather than looking at the time and thinking, oh, I know I've definitely done it, and those times certainly harder now. Does it make it any more ambiguous when you don't know how good a result actually is? Yeah,
I think it's tough. Like if you're planning going into the start of the year, given how, I mean, they've just released the standards for the World Champs next year and they're crazy, but like you can't really plan like or this 3 months, and then this 3 months, then I'm going to try and run this time. It's more like you have to like continually like have a rolling plan of like, if this goes well, I'll do this. If this doesn't go well, I'll do this. Yeah, it does make it a little bit more ambiguous, but I think it also rewards like consistency with the rankings. So like, it's like every time you go out there to race, if you can put together a lot of solid performances, then hopefully you'll be in a spot to where one really good run will boost your ranking enough, or a few good runs will have you up there in the rankings, rather than just like one-off performance, which is often harder to do. So yeah, there is a bit of ambiguity, but I think it's a good thing, as long as the ranking system's like clear and fair, and everyone understands it. I think it's better than just sort of constantly chasing times.
Yeah, it's one way that the sport and the system is changing. And one thing the sport is trying to do to change is to big up some of the teams that are involved in the groups, give people someone to support and sort of build a profile and build some togetherness. And of course, you're part of Team Macau. Just tell me a little bit about maybe the support that you get as being part of a group of athletes.
Yeah, I think like we're friends, we're all mates, and we were before the group started, first and foremost. So it's just that like that enjoyment, because training's hard, right? Like a lot of the time, and having people around you that you enjoy doing it with, that'll like lift you up when you're down and not let you get too high. Like when you're doing really well as well, they'll bring you back down when you need to be brought back down. I think is really good. Like just the main thing is just the enjoyment of being around people that you get on with.
Are you all different characters as well?
Yeah, we're all quite different in a lot of ways, I'd say. But like I say, we were all friends before it started, so it's like that's such a nice thing to have.
Because I know you're interested, Dan, in the fact that when you're on a Paralympic team, for example, you're throwing a javelin thrower together with sprinters, with other types of event groups and jumps as well. You're putting all together in the same team, and they're all performance athletes. They're all trying to win, but you could have completely different personalities. Has that been your experience?
Absolutely, and I think, as you're saying, coming back to that group really kind of grounds you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you have a really good performance, you're still that person who you were around, when you were doing your training, before you got your success, or before something tragic happened. And I think, I think that's really what makes a team. In my individual sport, we go to the Paralympic Games and we're thrust in there as a team, but we don't train with each other all the time. But it's our responsibility to act as a team and to sort of like nurture each other's success and downfall. So I think it's a really strong thing to have. That as well as having interests outside of sport, because those are the other things that ground us. Are there any other interests that you have outside of sport in particular?
I'm interested in a lot of other sports, like outside of our sport personally. So like football, cycling, and cricket and stuff like that. I'd say I watch as much sport as I can. Like I'm a massive Newcastle fan. Right. I had a season ticket growing up. Even though my dad's a Sunderland fan.
That's interesting, because you mentioned your involvement with Sunderland as well. Yeah. It's a bit like, I know Jamie Carragher grew up an Everton fan and got the opportunity with Liverpool, and he wouldn't change his career, even though he would most like to meet some of his Everton boyhood heroes. So that's a fascinating one. I suppose you took the opportunity that was there.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna say no just because I was a Newcastle fan, but yeah, you can't really turn it down. But yeah, football, cycling, cricket, like I just enjoy sport in general. Other stuff, probably music. I like a lot of different types of music, to be fair, and going to see it live, obviously with training and competition, I don't get that many chances, but yeah, when I can, it's I like to try and do that.
What's your favourite genre of music, would you say?
Mixed bag. Proper mixed bag, yeah. I like quite a lot of electronic music, and then yeah, just sort of indie rock pop sort of stuff. Like I've got tickets actually to see Calvin Harris in Glasgow the night after the 5K. The Commonwealth Games.
Amazing.
In
You'll be sitting down for that one, will you?
I'm in the stand area actually. So I've got tickets for that, and then also tickets to see the Cortinas later that summer. So nice. I mean, proper mixed bag there, but yeah.
It's funny that because about going to see live music and in between the regimes of training and regimental lifestyle. I 2 different times I secured tickets for Download Festival, and not one time was I able to go because competitions got in the way. It's one of those things, yeah. So I've been
I've had to sell a few tickets over the years.
You become a reseller of tickets.
Yeah.
It's funny that, because I know there was an athlete, I won't name names, but I was sort of asking, you're going to be at this next championship, that's coming up that you're eligible for, and the coach said, oh, actually, she has in mind to go to Reading Festival. So he was saying that from a coaching point of view of, yes, I'm telling you what I think about it. But I was also thinking, okay, their athlete will still be in that age category next year.
Yeah. Especially if you're young.
Moments.
If you're young, 100%. Like, I told Andy, my coach, that like I was going to that concert in I think because my girlfriend got it for my birthday, so in December. So I told him, I was like, oh look, if I qualify and I qualify for Europeans, hopefully, I know it's like in between, but like I'm going to the concert. I'll be doing that on the Sunday, so just gotta like let them know early, and obviously like be sensible around it as well. If you still got competitions, it's just doing it as obviously you can't do it all the time, but
I think
you still
that's
got to
positive
enjoy
distractions though, isn't it?
Yeah, you've still got to enjoy your life where you can, as long as you don't sacrifice any of the ideally.
You could have an AeroPress coffee in between, just make sure you got the energy,
Yeah.
Brilliant. It's interesting because we talk quite a lot on this podcast about switching off and about it, in theory, being a 7-day-a-week job in some senses. And I saw that you competed on New Year's Eve, which is one of those interesting ones around, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve. Are they kind of sacrosanct? Can you take time off? You chose to race on New Year's Eve. What was that kind of experience like? Because obviously you do naturally, because of some of the road racing and cross country you do have to be busier at that time of year than others.
Yeah, I've raced on New Year's Eve I think 2 of the last 4 years now. One of them was in Madrid, which is a really cool event. There's quite a lot of road races in Europe on New Year's and in various locations. In like that one in Madrid, the crowd was really cool, like nighttime race through the streets, and the crowd, it was like full. The streets were full, and then there was a massive party organised after. So it was like you raced, but you still had that New Year's thing. This year was more because I don't really get the chance to race in Newcastle very often, or like my extended family, I'm quite close to, like my granddad and stuff, don't really get to come and see me race. So like to just be able to go home and do that is nice. And then like there's not many like city centre races in the UK either, like that, and that was round my hometown. So and it was the first year I think they'd put it on, so I was like, yeah, I want to go and do that. But that was a sort of calm one after that, because I was racing the Valencia 10K a few weeks later. So actually I was at my girlfriend's in Glasgow for Christmas. We actually just drove back to Glasgow after the race, and that was my New Year's. So really? Yeah. Wow. So that was go down to Newcastle, race on New Year's Eve, and then drive back up and go to bed. So that was a pretty boring one, but the race was nice, and I enjoyed it.
I don't know what your approach to New Year's Eve is, but I'm happy to do pretty much anything at all, so long as at midnight I'm not finishing a day's work walking back to the car, when exhausted. I just feel there's no atmosphere there at all.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't mind doing stuff
the,
earlier in the day or in the evening. Sound like there was a great atmosphere there, but I don't want it to be completely flat. I don't know about you, because you've recently become a dad as well. So you find yourself too tired. Yeah, I was going to say.
I slept when he slept. So but yeah. New Year's Eve is always a bit of a strange one, but especially when it's like Olympic of the year, Olympic and Paralympic year. It's you've got all this stuff on the TV about the year ahead and all this inspiration. And so, you know, like before Paris for me, and I talked about it before, but yeah, I had this sort of like all this inspiration chucked at me about the Paralympic year, and then the next day I went out to train, and I was like, I just wanted to nail this aspect of my training, and spent far too long on the runway and done probably 3 times the amount of throws that I should have done. And then I had these 150 meter sprints to do, and on the second set I came around the bend and bang, I'd pulled my hamstring, and I was like, God, why didn't I just listen to my body? So sometimes that exterior kind of like voice that's like, you know, you need to train hard, you need to do these things. Don't let other people dictate what you're going to do, because then it can just mess things up. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing. So
yeah, and you still want to enjoy like that Christmas period.
Yeah.
Still like
it's a bit of a downtime to be with family, isn't it?
Yeah, and
or race around cities like you do. The way to get around to see all the relatives, isn't it? Just running past, hello, yeah.
I mean, don't you think as well it can be a mistake that people make when they're more determined than they ever have been before, and this is the case with, I think, a lot of young athletes now that may be training harder than they used to, that maybe the mistake is made of every session being super hard. You know, is that ever something that you've been told, you know, to making sure that you're getting the rest time, especially as you move to sort of more elite category?
Yeah, I'd say more and more now I'm doing like less hard workouts. Like I think even as I have improved and got better, like yeah, I still have to do hard workouts, but a lot of the stuff is just being controlled and in the right sort of zone or effort for that day, and that's probably led to just being able to get it right more often on race day than being tired from training.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, you know, those times that you were in America and you say the training was quite intense and it went up in intensity, do you think that sort of paved the way for you to now be able to kind of, I don't want to say the word sit back, but like be able to have those recovery days because now you have all that foundation and resilience behind you?
I think it's like constant learning of what your body can handle and what you're able to do and what works for you as well. And then also like if you're running well, like you're not really chasing it as much. Like when you're chasing that performance, it's so much easier to train too hard or overtrain or do too many hard workouts. But like when your performances have been good or consistently at a solid level, like I feel like then there's less insecurity in your training, and you, as long as
less risks.
And if you believe in what you're doing rather than being like, oh, should I be doing this? Should I be doing this? Why am I doing this? Kind of thing, then you're just sort of happy with it and like content, like just believe in it, then you don't have to like push in every aspect.
I think that's where the transparency comes when you're talking to a coach as well. Yeah. You know, about being able to ask the question of why you're doing this and am I doing this too much? You know, like
that communication
is really important.
Yeah, that transparency and communication and understanding why you're doing stuff is probably the biggest thing for me. It's like if everything needs to have a purpose, and if you don't understand the purpose of it, you're probably going to do it wrong. And if you keep doing things, even just like 1% slightly wrong because you don't understand the purpose, that adds up over time. Yeah, and absolutely. It is small margins. So like, understanding the purpose of it and executing it right, and like not just running 5 seconds faster on a rep just for the sake of it because you can. Yeah, exactly. Then there's no need to do that. Yeah.
So would you say that you know, when you went to America and you had everything was new for you, did you go straight into that? Did you ask those questions then, or did you just get on and do it?
I probably just got on and did it, and a lot of the stuff then was like, because I was so new to sport still, it was like the volume increase was rather than the intensity was what was intense probably. Okay. Right. And the change in training and stuff from just like being in that youth group at home where the training was just very basic. Sure. But yeah, I probably didn't really ask enough questions. Or
do you think you should have, or in retrospect?
Maybe. I think I just didn't really understand the sport that much at 18, and especially with distance running, I feel like learning the sport is a big part of it, and it's why a lot of distance runners sort of don't hit their peak till like late 20s, because it can take a while to learn it for yourself and figure it out.
Yeah, it needs some observation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Of the environment that you're in, and why you're doing these things, because questions sometimes they're not apparent until you've either made a mistake and you go, I don't want to do that again, so I'm going to ask a question to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you've taken anything from your previous involvement in football? Maybe is it given you something extra as an athlete, or do you think there are footballers who actually can learn something from you? Because Adam Jamili was saying there's a lot of athletes that he's seen, and maybe they don't know how to run properly in terms of their running style. They don't know how to lift weights in the gym and things like that.
I'd say I probably need to learn how to run properly and lift weights in the gym, because I still think like that sort of that's one thing like I think over the next year or two that's probably going to be hopefully make a difference for me would be like I have been trying like the last year or so to get better in the gym, but I'm still very new to it. And then also just that like mechanic stuff, because I didn't really do athletics as a kid. I never really like, I feel like I never really like learned how to sprint or anything like that, which I still think matters as a distance guy. I think probably the biggest thing I'd take from playing football is that I think it's kept me really robust in terms of not getting injured.
Really?
Because I got injured a lot when I played football. Like growing up as a kid, I had quite a lot of injuries. Like weirdly quite a lot as like a 12, 13, 14-year-old. But since getting into running, I found like my body just sort of take to it well in terms of like I've not really had a massive major injury. Touch wood.
Did the injuries come from tackles, or was it
both?
The
really?
mechanics of how you
Yeah,
were running,
like
kicking, and
I like tore my hamstring when I was 13, which is weird, and like broken ankle, a lot of knee problems.
Did you have the right support at that time?
Yeah, like I had a lot of rehab and stuff. I just kept getting injured. I don't know why. I did just like one of the reasons I was like. I mean, I wasn't the most technically gifted player, but like, I was just would just
You
throw
can
myself.
say that you are. We believe you, unless we find
I would just
deep dark.
Throw myself into tackles and stuff a lot. I think that's probably why I got a lot of injuries. But I do think like playing a lot of different sports has kept me injury free. Like getting into the sport later has allowed, I guess, my body to grow into itself a bit before I actually started running properly, really.
So we tried to pass a question from one podcast to the next. So in a previous episode, Adam Jamili asked about post-race routine, what you do. Are you sort of analysing your race, your split times? Are you looking back? Are you completely switching off quite quickly?
I find it difficult to switch off and sleep after a race, especially even a good race, but especially after a bad race, I find it really difficult to sleep. Mm-hmm. So yeah, usually immediately post race, like cool down. Sometimes I have a workout after the race.
Really, a workout after the race?
Yeah.
Is that to blow off extra steam? Is it, or?
It wouldn't be a hard workout. It would be more like just to flush the race effort out the legs and add some volume onto the week. Because obviously, if it's a mid-season race, you've tapered in, and then after the race, probably need to add a bit of volume on or just reset the body a little bit.
What does that session look like? Is that literally just a walk or a slow run?
It'll be like a slow jog for a bit, and then some like K reps or mile reps or something at like not high intensity, like comfortable.
So that gives you time also to sort of like unwind your mind a little bit as well, right?
A little bit, yeah. And then I'd say after that, it's just depending on where I'm racing and who's there. Like just usually try and socialise with the people who are there.
Team Macau.
Yeah, or anyone really on the circuit or other friends in the running world who are there at the race. Like because there's minimal chance of sleeping usually for me anyway, especially with caffeine and adrenaline. So.
Yeah, with a AeroPress on the go all the time, I can imagine it's hard to sleep.
Yeah.
So, and then a question that you would like to know from other athletes. Could be anything at all. Doesn't have to be sport related.
I'll I'll continue with the post-race theme and say, like, what's been your favorite race or event to go to for like the enjoyment side after the competition.
Yeah, who's headlining at Hampden Park the next day? Yeah, brilliant. It's been great to chat to you, Scott Beattie, and just find out really about your background, how you made the kind of leap of faith off to the States, but how you've always been grounded by those around you, and how that's kept you motivated for goals for the future, like LA Olympics and World Championships, and all the other opportunities, you know, some on home soil brilliantly, likes of Glasgow, and others, you know, so far afield. And yeah, wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for having me.
Cheers, Scott.
Thank you.